Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa, and a very special welcome to our new South African viewers joining us on Open View. I'm James Creedon. Here are our headlines from across the continent this evening. Now, it was a sad day at Paris's Orly airport as 6 young humanitarian workers were flown home from Niger. They were killed by suspected jihadists at a wildlife park last Sunday. Meanwhile, one of the 2 Nigerian victims of the same attack was laid to rest. More on that at the top of the show. And in DR Congo, our reporters went to assess the security concerns at Virunga National Park in the east of the country. There have been scores of kidnappings there in recent times, which has seen visitor numbers plummet. And in Abidjan, our reporters went along to a film premiere. It tells the story of Ivory Coast's Abbé people and their early 20th century struggle against French colonialism. More on that later on in the show. Thanks for watching now. It's been a week of mourning for the families of 8 victims of an ambush shooting last Sunday in Niger. 6 French aid workers were killed along with their Nigerian guide and driver in a wildlife reserve an hour from the capital Niamey. Now, one of those Nigerian victims was laid to rest today in the town of Kudal. Meanwhile, the 6 humanitarian workers were flown back to France. All of them were aged between 25 and 30, and they worked for the French NGO Acted. Now, the Prime Minister, French Prime Minister Jean Castex led a national tribute to the young men and women. Let's take a listen to him.
Je souhaite ici affirmer que les ONG et l'ensemble des associations humanitaires doivent pouvoir continuer leur travail sur place, car quitter le Niger et les pays limitrophes, ce serait céder face à des meurtriers. La France poursuivra son action pour le renforcement de la protection des organisations humanitaires partout dans le monde et pour la consolidation du droit international humanitaire.
Now, next to DR Congo and security concerns at the Virunga National Park in the east of the country. It's one of the wonders of Africa, home to rare mountain gorillas and 2 of the continent's active volcanoes. Now, it used to attract thousands of adventurous travellers every year, but much less so now. According to a recent report by Human Rights Watch, more than 170 people have been kidnapped by armed gangs since 2017. Clément Bonnereau, Juliette Dubois and Justin Kabumba report.
Esther, whose real name we've chosen not to use for her safety, was abducted back in October near Rutshuru in North Kivu, a few kilometres from Virunga National Park. Esther's ordeal lasted 6 days. She was released only after her family paid a $500 ransom. In a report, Human Rights Watch says at least 170 people have been abducted in and around Rutshuru since March 2017. Armed gangs whose identities are not known use the nearby park as a hiding place. This despite the presence of rangers who patrol the area on a daily basis.
Les piles sont pleins.
However, with just 625 guards, the park is struggling to keep an area the size of Corsica safe. Besides peacekeeping, rangers combat poaching and ensure the safety of tourists.
Nous ne pouvons rien faire pour les groupes armés. Le parc national de Virunga est tellement grand, avec 800 000 hectares, vraiment, c'est tout un pays.
Security around the park is provided by DR Congo's armed forces with the support of UN troops. But authorities say there's only so much they can do in an area that's been plagued by conflict for decades.
On ne saura pas mettre un militaire derrière chaque Congolais. Les forces armées de la République sont sur plusieurs fronts. Front contre les FDLR, front contre les groupes armés nationaux et aussi les EDF Nalou du côté de Béni.
The proliferation of armed groups hampers efforts to protect the local population. Victims of kidnappings, meanwhile, are still waiting for justice.
To Ivory Coast next, where tensions are still high after President Alassane Ouattara's announcement that he will seek a 3rd term of office. Now, it has set off long-standing political tensions in the country, and 5 people have been killed in recent days during demonstrations. Friday saw continued unrest with a bus being set on fire in the commercial capital Abidjan. A police station was also burnt down in the town of Bonua. Now, concern is growing in several sub-Saharan countries as the COVID-19 pandemic appears to worsen other infectious diseases like malaria, HIV and tuberculosis. In many cases, people are reluctant to go to health clinics because they think they might get infected with coronavirus. But this means the state of those who are sick has worsened. Here's a look into what NGOs have been doing to try to save those who are ill.
This hospital in the southeast of Sierra Leone treats children, and it usually has dozens of patients, many suffering from malaria. But since the COVID-19 pandemic appeared, few families bring their children to be treated, about 40% less than usual.
We really faced a decrease of people coming, probably because of the fear of COVID. We are used to receive children that are moderate to severely ill, and now they come even more severe or they come with a bigger delay.
Because as families wait as long as possible before visiting the clinic, the state of their children worsens. Once treated, many see their situation improve.
Walk outside, they sit down for himself, they eat. But they eat now, they sit down for himself. They call me.
Others risk dying. 2/3 of those who die from malaria are children under 5. To save as many as possible, NGOs send teams to villages to detect potential cases.
As they are not coming to the facilities, we, MSF, we decide to go to them in the villages.
COVID has not just scared people and kept them from coming to clinics. Lockdowns have also disrupted campaigns and the distribution of mosquito nets and medicine. The World Health Organization says malaria victims could double this year to more than 750,000 worldwide.
Now, crowded spaces are a breeding ground for the spread of COVID-19, so there were fears that an overcrowded prison in Mali's capital, Bamako, would be a disaster zone. So far, though, not one single case has been detected. Now, is it down to efficient prevention or just good luck? Nicolas Germain has the story.
Before entering Mali's biggest prison, you have to wash your hands and have your temperature taken. The jail was initially built for 400 detainees, but there are more than 2,000 people here. Because it's overcrowded, prison doctors feared there would be many coronavirus cases, but so far the situation is good.
Dieu merci, depuis la pandémie, on n'a pas eu d'abord un seul cas à la MCA ici. On a respecté les mesures barrières et le port des masques. Ce que le gouvernement a demandé de respecter, on a tout respecté, vraiment, Dieu merci.
Nowadays in the textile workshop, prisoners are not only making shirts and trousers.
Pour pallier à l'épidémie, on a décidé de confectionner ces masques pour protéger les détenus et ceux qui viennent pour les rendre visite.
To reduce the number of prisoners here, many of them have been transferred to other jails.
Le ministre, il a fait de son mieux pour baisser le taux de détenus avec les audiences extraordinaires au niveau de toutes les communes et la grâce présidentielle, 4 séries de grâce présidentielle. Et donc il y a plus de 400 personnes qui ont bénéficié de la grâce. Et le département a procédé à des transferts.
The coronavirus is not the only concern that prisoners have. Here, the vast majority of them have yet to be judged. Some have been waiting months and even years for their trial.
Now, a new film is set to premiere in Abidjan this weekend. It will tell the story of Ivory Coast's Abbé people and their early 20th century struggle against French colonialism. Our correspondent Sam Bradpiece has more.
In 1905, the Abbé people in southeastern Ivory Coast near Agboville launched a revolt against French colonialism that would last for more than a decade. Angered by a harsh regime of forced labour and the theft of their resources, the Abbé attacked colonial soldiers and infrastructure, famously killing the French commander Rubino. The revolt was brutally suppressed. For the first time, this story is hitting the big screen with a new film blending documentary interviews and historical reenactment. Its executive producer is herself Abbé, from the region where the film was shot.
Étant petite, mon grand-père me racontait l'histoire. Et je me disais, ce film-là, cette histoire-là, Je vais la réaliser un jour.
One of the co-directors said that the film counters the colonial narrative that depicts the Abbé as cannibals.
Donc du coup, il fallait qu'on révèle à partir de la mort de Rubino que les Abbés ne sont pas cannibales et que c'est vrai qu'ils avaient tué Rubino, mais ils l'ont fait manger à l'armée française pour les faire regretter leurs actes.
Historian Séraphin Néné-Bi says the film is important in drawing attention to the struggle for freedom in pre-independence Ivory Coast.
Ceux qui ont donné leur sang, qui se sont révoltés pour qu'il y ait un certain rapport entre indigènes et colonisateurs, il faut aller beaucoup plus loin, qui, sans être connus du grand public, ont apporté de leur sang, apporté de leur vie pour la construction de cet État. C'est de ça qu'il s'agit.
The film will be shown in cinemas across Ivory Coast from September, and in the coming months will be screened across West Africa and the world.
All right, that's all for this edition of Eye on Africa. It was produced by Tommy Mazzanti. Thanks to him and all the team, and thanks to you for watching. Good night.